Welcome to another episode of HVACR Verse. I'm Kevin Stiles. I'm your host. And sorry, guys, that I have not had a video in a while. I know it has been a couple months. One, summertime, and it has been extremely busy. And I went to go make a video. And when I finally went to go make a video, my computer crashed. And it kept crashing on me. And in fashion, I got upset and I got frustrated and I just gave up. So I spent the time and the money and bought myself a fancy newer computer. And hopefully things are going to be better with this. I can do a little bit more. It moves a little bit more freely. It has a little bit more wiggle room with bandwidth and stuff. So with that being said, on this episode, I want to talk about hard starts, soft starts, and surge protectors. So me personally, I am anti-hard start. And I don't know if I've ever conveyed that in this channel, but I really do not like hard start kits. They have a place, and that's when the compressor doesn't want to start. Test it out. Compressor starts up. Great. Sell the customer hard start, but guess what? Let them know that hard start is just a Band-Aid, and at some point in time, that compressor is done. In reality, if this equipment needed starting components, they would put it in to begin with, right? So the misconception that I see a lot of times are guys think that it lowers the inrush and it lowers the amp draw. I had a technician that told a customer that it would help with their lights dimming, and it does not. There is a product that works for that, but hard start is not the product. So just a little why I don't believe in hard starts is a hard start doesn't actually lower the amp draw. One, it looks like it does because it's happening so fast that your meter can't pick it up. So if you had something that could measure ampacity and voltage that quick, it would pick it up and it would still be the same thing. The only thing it's really doing is, and if nobody believes me, try it out. Test your unit out on startup, put your meter on the start winding off the Herm from the capacitor, turn it on, and see what your inrush is. It's probably going to be like almost zero. And then do the same thing, start it up, have it on the run side of the compressor, and it's going to be probably the same as the common wire for the compressor. So then throw that hard start in, start up that compressor, and have your amp meter on the start winding, and I bet you have amp draw now. And all you did is you shifted where the power is going. So now you're pushing more power through a start winding, which is not designed to have that kind of push through it. And eventually it's going to destroy that compressor. So hard starts have a place, in my opinion, and they aren't with, compressors that are still starting just fine. But there are hard starts that I agree with that work and have protection in them, and I believe the Amrad's probably the better product, and I'll show that here in a second. What I truly believe in when it comes to, like, we want to say starting components, are these soft starts. ICM makes one. It seems okay. I don't like that you have to buy a whole weatherproof enclosure to install it. The only one that I've seen that's like out of the box, ready to go, weatherproof enclosure, everything, is a company called Micro Air out of Florida, and they're the Micro Air Easy Soft Start. I've actually installed 3 of them, and they work really good. I actually like them. What I will say is the systems they don't work on is you cannot put them on these communicating inverter systems. And when it comes to communicating inverter systems, I had a product that I was able to demo out the other day, and it's a disconnect box with the surge protector and the voltage monitor, so you could set your low limit of voltage, your high limit of voltage, and if your voltage went too low, it would shut off power to the equipment. If your voltage got too high, it would shut off power to the equipment. Had a little breaker that you could adjust that's rated up to 60 amps inside there. And then it had a little surge protector on the side that did its thing. So I got to demo it out last week, and it seemed pretty cool. That would be something that if I was installing an inverter system, I would either roll it into the cost of the system, or a customer that has one recommend it, because surge protectors are there for the solid state equipment, the circuit boards and stuff. And I would have that in conjunction with the voltage monitor for like brownouts or overvolts or undervolts, and that it has a breaker in it too instead of fuses, and it comes in a weatherproof enclosure. I think it's probably a really good product. And then with an air handler, I would throw a surge protector up there as well. Not saying that it's going to solve every problem and that there'll never be a problem. Things happen, right? We can't control that. But I want to show the kind of stuff that I like to use for hard starts, and the reason why I say I like to use in hard start. I really don't like using them. If the compressor won't start, then so be it. It needs a hard start, and if it works, great. So I want to roll over to this product right here. This is Amrad's universal hard start kit. I think it's actually a pretty good hard start kit. See if I can do this.
Here's a first look at the best thing to happen to hard start kits since Amrad made them universal. Relay failure can be an issue with hard start kits. When the contact mechanism inside the relay becomes stuck in a closed position, the start capacitor remains in the circuit, forcing the compressor to run with too much capacity.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Amrad. Appreciate it. Or Global, whatever you want to say.
Total failure. Amrad's newest innovation, the CPT fuse wire, prevents damage when a relay fails like this. If the relay becomes stuck with the CPT fuse wire attached, the fuse inside the...
So this is kind of why I like our product. They have that built-in fuse protection, and their capacitors that they use for their run capacitors have that built-in CPT terminal right here that comes in handy. It's got a compressor protect terminal, so heaven forbid that relay sticks. Hey, it's going to protect it and not let the compressor keep running.
Next, cutting off the motor start capacitor from the AC system within 3 seconds. No extra damage, no mess, easy replacement. And TES5EXT 2-wire universal hard starts. To install, use the included color-coded jumper wires to set the value of the hard start kit. The CPT fuse wire labeled for 1.5 to 5 ton installs comes pre-attached to...
So these are the ones that I sell to my customers. They're pretty robust. I haven't had an issue with one. They're pretty straightforward on wiring up. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 guys that like got a little tripped up by it, but they're not really that difficult.
The hard start. For installs up to 1 ton, send the fuse wire labeled connect the CPT fuse wire to the common terminal of T on Amrad's motor run capacitors, P on to the common terminal.
So this is the nice part about their capacitor lineup. And I truly think that they probably have the better capacitor out there right now. I know Mars gives a 5-year warranty on theirs, but I've actually had Global come out, display, show the demo, show the differences between their capacitors and everyone else's, and they actually have stamp dates of when they were tested and what they tested at when they left the factory.
Terminal of the motor run capacitor, or to the CPT on Amrad's motor run capacitor.
So you got that compressor protector terminal right there.
Then add the other wire to the firm compressor terminal of the motor run capacitor. Look for this latest innovation at a wholesaler near you this year.
I really like their product. I probably think they have one of the better capacitors out there. I'm not saying they're the best. The other product that I was talking about for like using on inverter systems is this RectorSeal 50 VRMDC kit. It's the 60 amp one. So it's got this circuit breaker on here that is rated up to 60 amps. And it's got this voltage monitor right here, and it's got the surge protector right here. So this becomes your disconnect rather than having those pull-out disconnects. And this is a weatherproof enclosure, guys. So the nice part is, so you don't have to worry about fuses, but on an inverter system, you can set the minimum voltage on this thing. You can set it down to whatever the lowest manufacturer's rating. So I would probably go a little bit above that. 200 volts, it shuts off. And if it trips, it has a minimum 4-minute protection, or 3-minute. I can't remember exactly. Don't quote me on that. But it has a protection. And then you can set the delay timer on there. And heaven forbid there was a power surge, but I think automatically it has 3 minutes and you can't avoid that. Then you can set your maximum voltage. So let's say the piece of equipment says the maximum voltage is 256 volts. I'd probably set it to like 250 or 251. And that way, you know, the system's protected. That voltage spikes up. That monitor is going to take it out, trip it out of the circuit. So that way it's not sending voltage to it constantly at that. And if it does get like that really quick surge, it's got this surge protector right in here. And they're pretty nice. I tested them out. I wouldn't say this would replace disconnects for every piece of unit, but I would say this replaces disconnects for inverter systems. I would rather use this than a normal disconnect, because then you can just have everything all there. Your disconnect, your voltage monitor, and your surge protector. And then you can go ahead and throw a surge protector at the air handler to protect it on top of that, because what's the number one failure on these things? The boards, and that's all they are, is just boards. So this is probably one of those products that I really like. I wouldn't say it's the end-all be-all, but they have a little video on here. I thought they did. Oh, yeah, right here. Oh, see if I can get to play. Oh, doesn't want to play. There we go.
My name is Fred Cruz with RectorSeal.
Oh, man. Trying to...
We're here today to talk about the newest addition to RectorSeal's line of surge protection and voltage monitoring equipment. This is the RSH50 VRM DC kit. This system was designed to protect...
Oh, you know what? I got it right here, guys. Look at me fumbling around.
We're here today to talk about the newest addition to RectorSeal's line of surge protection and voltage monitoring equipment. This is the RSH50 VRM DC.
Not a sales pitch.
This system was designed to protect against three specific power problems: surge voltage, high voltage, and low voltage. All three of those conditions can damage HVAC systems. So each of those disturbances need to be protected by a specific device. So you have surge voltage, high voltage, and low voltage. And from a convenience standpoint, we've also added a 60 amp disconnect breaker. So now we remove the external breaker from the equation. And in one NEMA 3R weather type weatherproof enclosure, we have the 60 amp disconnect breaker with a 3-year warranty, the VRM high voltage, low voltage monitor with a 3-year warranty, and the surge protection device, the RSH50, which has a lifetime product replacement warranty.
I've actually used the warranty for that surge protector, and they warranted a board for a customer because we couldn't determine whether it was the surge protector or if it was not wired up correctly, and RectorSeal just went ahead and covered the cost of that board, which was pretty impressive. So that's a product that I just recently got the demo out. I wouldn't say it's like the next greatest thing in the world, but it definitely is better than what we've been dealing with mostly. So get out of this. So the other product I was talking about is the Micro Air Soft Start. Now, I don't know how many have actually seen this or used it. I saw it a couple years ago. I've installed 3 now, and every single one has done exactly what they say it does. It's a true soft start. ICM has one, They have two different models, but the problem with the ICM ones that I don't like is if you can't fit it into the cabinet of the unit, you can't mount it externally. You'd have to get a weatherproof enclosure. So by the time it's all said and done, you pretty much spent the same cost that you would as the micro air. Because the micro air is not cheap, I'm not going to lie. They're pretty pricey. But they are a true soft start for residential equipment, and they work. And they do make it to where, like, if you have solar, because this is where I like them. Unless you have an inverter piece of equipment, it truly does reduce that amp draw down. And it truly does reduce the startup amps. And if, I don't know, anybody deals with solar load shedding, heaven forbid the solar just decides, hey, that's too many amps on startup, shuts the equipment down, and then it goes through a vicious cycle over and over again until at one point in time it starts up and it's acceptable for what the solar management system wants. This eliminates that problem. So it also makes it to where you don't need such a large generator to start your air conditioner on your house. Heaven forbid you have a power outage and you're on backup generator. You don't need a super large generator for this because the startup amps are dropped by like 60% or something like that. It does what it says it does. And I have seen where it does lower the startup noise just a little bit, but hey, lower startup amps, you can measure it the true way, and it allows you to work on generate, like your house can run on a generator, you can run your air conditioner and not worry about shutting your generator down. Now, does a hard start do that? No. So that's why I say this actually works the way they say it works. And I'm going to show you guys this product right here. I really like these Micro Air Easy Starts. Like I said, they're just, one, they're not easy to get a hold of. Two, they're not cheap. So this Micro Air Easy Start, you can see it's got a solid state board and everything. And look up the ICM Easy Start or Soft Starts, and they're pretty good. They come in a couple different sizes for this. I think this one's good up for 3.5 tons or something like that, or 4 tons. And then there's one that's rated from 4 ton to 7 ton. I don't know what residential application has 6 ton. I don't know residential application has a 6 ton air conditioner, but they have 2 sizes. They have the 72 and then they have the 48. I've installed 3 of these exact ones, and they work great. They're awesome. They do everything they say they do. You connect to your phone, and if there's an issue, you can call tech support, and literally they'll be able to log into it through your phone and through the Bluetooth app and see everything that's going on with it. They're really easy to install, not complicated. They work. There's a video on here. I think this is from Micro Air.
Hello, and welcome to another Micro Air 5 or 6 ton home unit. You would use the ASY.
All right, so they got the X36, which I don't even know if I didn't see it on there, but that's for like 3 ton and under. I think that's for also like RV units. Then there's the X48, which is for 3 to 4 ton, and then the 72, which is for 5 to 6 ton. So
8-X72-2. Going to this one.
Welcome to Wire and Cable Your Way, your leading online supplier.
Oh, that's
of
awesome.
wire and cable
Thanks,
products.
YouTube.
We offer a huge.
And you'll know it by where the electrical cover. See what we got inside. Oh, we had a lizard. It purple. And we want to job putting past it. So amp power sources, electric box area, plastic. So number 10.
So you can
and I'm going.
You can mount these external of the unit. You don't have to mount them inside the cabinet. So if you don't have room, they are weatherproof enclosures. So I think he just mounts this one inside this cabinet right here.
If it's outside, so it's always best to mount it this way if you can. We're ready to start the wiring now. And in this case, I've already cut back this harness. This black wire is going to go to the compressor common,
which corresponds to the L1 pole on the contactor here, which also has a black wire. Since this is connect the white wire to one of these available points. The third wire that we're going to connect is going to be up here on the run capacitor. It is connected to the use.
Oh,
And
these are all pretty.
T1 and T2.
I want to show it in action.
Recommend, just while we're talking about this, with the content compressor. The very first 5 starts that Easy Start carries out, it optimizes its internal parameters to tune itself with the compressor it is connected to so it can attain the maximum starting surge reduction. I've already gone ahead and run those 5 starts on this particular compressor, and we are ready to do start number 6, and you will see the net result of Easy Start's optimization, and this is how Easy Start will perform for the life of the unit. If you ever did need to reinitiate the learning procedure, you could do that via the Bluetooth app, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and start the Easy Start up now that it is installed and learned. I'm going to use my trusty pen again here, and here we go. The initial current you see is that through the run capacitor. 5 seconds later, Easy Start initiates its startup.
God, that fan motor sounds horrible.
We've got 19.7 amps for a peak starting current. That is almost a 75% reduction from that original 77.4 amp peak that we saw without Easy Start installed.
So that's just kind of like a brief video of how it works. I'm not going to bore you guys with all that, but they're actually a really good product. I've been talking to a rep locally that's trying to get them to bring the product in here and make it available locally so you don't have to order through them online and go all the way through all the shipping process and everything. I think the last one took like 28 days to get out here. It's kind of a long time, and with a lot of customers, if it sits for a certain amount of time, they just kind of go, I don't want it anymore. So it'd be nice if they had the product locally. I know that like some manufacturers try to get this company to give them the equipment to put in the stuff, but the price was too expensive because apparently, talking to one of the engineers, all this stuff is made in America. Everything down to the circuit board. So I'm sure it costs a little bit more to operate that way. The other thing I do not like hard starts about, and I don't think people understand, 2-stage compressors. These 2-stage compressors that we have, these scrolls, they do not want a hard start on them. From what I understand, talking with an Emerson rep who's Copeland, it can actually cause damage to the compressor. So it may seem like you did the customer a favor. If you really want to do them a favor, have it start in first stage. Don't wire first stage and second stage together so that compressor runs at full load when it first starts up. Make it do what it's supposed to do. Because as far as I understand, you will destroy the start winding on that compressor by putting a hard start on there. If the compressor doesn't start and you're just trying to buy the customer some time, put a hard start on. If you want to actually do some beneficial thing for the customer and it's not an inverter system, a soft start, either the ICM or the micro air. Those are the ones I prefer. And if you have an inverter system, like I said, I've only got to demo it, but it seems like a really good product, is that RectorSeal disconnect box. It seems like it's legit. So that's all I got to say. I got some more stuff coming out. I'm working with someone I know from another company to come in and join me on a live podcast. I'll set that up, and a couple other things I'll be coming up with. I got some classes that I'm teaching, so I'm going to be a little bit busy still, and it's still pretty warm here in Arizona. But if you guys like what I'm doing here, just give me a thumbs up, like the channel, subscribe, appreciate it, and happy HVACing, everyone. If you like this video or any of the other videos, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and as usual, happy HVACing.